Hi, I'm back. I think I'm gonna try to do videos maybe once a week. I'm not really sure yet, but you may notice there's something different about me. In the last video, the front of my hair was blonde and I hated it, so I went back to black like Amy Winehouse. So, anyways, I've got 10 minutes to basically discuss what I think God is. Now, a lot of people, especially in the West or in the United States, when somebody says the word God, they immediately think of the Christian God or Jesus. That's the thought that immediately comes to mind when somebody says God. Or when you say I believe in God, somebody automatically assumes you're a Christian. When you say I don't believe in Jesus, somebody automatically assumes that you don't believe in God. So Jesus, Christianity, and God are almost synonymous in our culture, and I think that's really bullcrap. I can't stand that. Actually, I can't stand it at all, because I am not a Christian. I don't believe in Jesus, yet I do believe in God. Now, something else that I notice about the way that Western society in general looks at God is they look at God in very extremely limiting terms. Now, something that is supposedly both omniscient and omnipotent, they look at in very limiting terms. They see God as an entity, as a deity, and that's it. Atheists also will generally only define God by Christian terms, and they'll usually, their atheist rants are generally, targeted at Christians, and I just don't get it. Now, to me, God is absolutely everything and nothing all at once. That seems very contradictory, and, maybe I'm just a big, huge contradiction. I'm not a dualist either. I don't believe that. If you look around, this is hard to explain. I think that God is absolutely everything, in a sense that God is not only nature, but God is mass consciousness. God is the power of the human subconscious. God is our atmosphere. I believe that God is everything, limitless, formless. I don't limit what my idea of God is. So, therefore, I openly also accept other people's ideas of God. I don't necessarily believe that God is an entity or a deity, but I don't say that that's definitely not what God is. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not a dualist also, so that means that I don't believe in one all positive being and one all negative being. If you look at nature, there's nothing in nature that is one or the other. There's nothing in nature that is completely beautiful and then something in nature that is completely ugly and negative and evil. Nature is both beautiful and evil. The ocean is beautiful, but in 10 minutes that very beautiful ocean can turn into a tsunami and kill 30,000 people. So I don't believe that God is that way either. And another thing, I don't in most religions, and specifically in Christianity and Judaism, it says that human beings were created in God's image. Human beings are also both positive and negative, both good and bad, both, beautiful and ugly. And if we are a part of God, if we were made in God's likeness and in God's image, there have to be qualities that we as humans have that are also godlike qualities. So, that also signifies to me that God is not an all good being, and then Satan's like an all negative being. I just don't buy it. Sorry, I don't buy it. Let's see, what else do I have to say here? Obviously, this is still totally impromptu. I'm not writing notes before I make these videos or anything like that. I just think that society brainwashes us so much on what we should think God is or isn't, that we're almost scared to look at God in any other light than what's socially acceptable. Atheists, of course, are also kind of in-the-box thinkers. Really, anybody who subscribes to one way of thinking are in-the-box thinkers, and they limit themselves, really. I mean, it's proven that human subconscious is extremely powerful, and it's almost limitless in its power. Human subconscious can do so many things. So who's to say that God is not the power of human subconscious? Or God is that voice in the back of our head. Or who's to say that God is not mass consciousness? I believe in mass consciousness, a sort of Akashic records. This, mass consciousness is affected by so many things, lunar cycles, solar cycles, astronomical things. Maybe God is a mass consciousness, and overall, I believe that God is truth. And a lot of people say that truth is subjective, but I believe that God is personal truth. And that doesn't necessarily mean that God is an object to be worshipped or to be feared. I worship my personal truth, and I worship my personal truth in the form of Shiva, in the form of Kali. They are a part of me as much as I am a part of them. We are not separate. And that's something that I think humans need to remember, that human beings are not separate from God. We are not separate from nature. We are of it. We are a part of it. And I kind of talked about that in my last video. God, I'm so all over the place. I only have 10 minutes, and I always end up babbling on and making my videos too long, and then I never want to go back and re-record them, because I'm like, oh, I just spent all that time like talking my head off, and now I've got to re-record it. So hopefully you guys have gotten a little better idea of kind of what I think God is. I think God is a lot of things. I think God is knowledge, truth, power. I definitely don't think God is some, angelic entity that sits up in the clouds on a golden throne. I don't really subscribe to ideas like that. But everything in my life, all the experiences that I have had, have indicated to me that there is a force in this world, an unseen force, that is a part of everything and takes a part in everything. A mass consciousness, just a force of all forces, and I believe that that is what God is. And I believe that a little of that resides in every single human being, and that the mass majority of people are out of touch with that. And they need to get back in touch with it. So I'm going to quit on this point because I have to run and do some work. Like I said in the last video, once again, God and spirituality are not reserved for an elite class of people. It's for everyone. And it's a part of everyone. It's in everyone. You don't have to be pious. You don't have to be a monk. You don't have to be some chaste, perfect creature. Because, once again, we were created in God's image, in God's likeness. And we are imperfect. So that automatically tells me that it's okay to be imperfect. So, I don't believe in any type of original sin guilt, or any type of guilt for just being human. I believe that those sort of things should be embraced. And you are not a prisoner of social norms. You're not a prisoner of what the media tells you to be true, or what you think you know to be the truth. You're not a prisoner trapped in a box. You have the power to think outside the box and to learn and to constantly learn. And I think that everybody should take part in that, and not taking part in that would be doing an injustice to yourself as a human being. there's a quote. I'm going to end on this, a Sanskrit quote. It is Satyam Shivam Sundaram. And that means that truth is God and God is beautiful. Thank you.